Never been a perfect person. I put the cart before the horse. A list of reasons, long as sermons, why I never needed a God. Then I heard his voice, so sweet, it put me on my knees. I'm holding on to hope for dear life, with God driving, and I'm finally free at last. God driving, God driving.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Equal and the Same. I think we're live now. I am sitting here tonight on a beautiful, one of the last days, I would say, of the summer. It was a nice, beautiful day on 10/4/25. Exciting day. There was a lot going on. We have now also Toll and Roll, where again, you go to tollandroll.com, look for their 1776 petition. They have an HR number in front of that if you want to look it up at Congress. But if you go to their petition, which I show you in a little while, Connie had a beautiful show today. We got 15 days, 4 hours before the Family Justice and Accountability Act 2025 is going to be held at Congress. And again, hello, Daniel. Hello, John. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm excited tonight. There's some crazy stuff going on all day today with me, and in a good way, that just the information was just rolling around, guys. And I wouldn't mind taking a little bit of time and sharing a couple of videos with you guys today that I found. Some of you might already gotten this email today because I'm like, holy baloney, check it out. But yeah, so it was a great day. And again, I would like to first start off probably with I'm looking for it now just so I can hit share. And yes, there it is. So I got to go back to you guys over here, and I'm going to hit share, and I'm going to say Facebook share. And I found this guy this morning, and it was basically off of a friend who gave me the tip, and I thought he was incredible. I hope we can hear this.
That's true, but let's talk about why. So, with the government shut down, it's the requirement of the executive, along with the Army and the Marine Corps, to make sure that the nation still functions. That also means that they can move assets without congressional approval, because Congress is basically out the window. Okay? With the government shut down, the U.S. Supreme Court doesn't exist, so it moves to the U.S. Marine Corps Division Main Court, justices or judges, and the Army Judge Advocate Generals, and the Air Force Judge Advocate Generals, depending on what jurisdiction we're talking about, whether it's space or air or land, or C, commercial, right? Which really, this isn't going to be space or air. Everything's really in maritime or in federal commercial. So right now, what can happen, like what's probably going to happen, and this is going to sound a little crazy, but this is what I see. The police forces, all law enforcement, is going to get moved to Division Main, Marine Corps, and they're going to be attached to as our law enforcement mechanism, and that will facilitate the re-establishment of the American militia, which starts with the veterans. Second, and this is beautiful, transportation and transit will be taken away from the states, and they will be moved into North America, and that transportation transit system will operate under the Army Corps of Engineers. So remember back in the day, like we had the Army Corps of Engineers for the bridges? Well, now the Army Corps of Engineers is going to be over our bridges, our roads, all that stuff. That's transportation, okay? So the states and the local counties can't profit from them anymore with their buddy contractors, right? So that's going to happen. Public land and ground will be moved to judge advocate generals, and so will the probate courts.
Absolutely.
And this is the best part. Healthcare will be nationalized through the Army. EMS will be nationalized through the Army. Fire services, emergency response, emergency management, all weather, all that stuff is going to be through the Army, with the Marine Corps as the countersign. Okay? Sorry, something climbed my ear. So you're talking about national health care, bye-bye medical insurance companies. See ya. It was all for profit scam anyways. All these organizations, NGOs that were sponsored by Congress, no more NGOs, not unless they're for profit. 501c3 churches, you're gone.
Love
You're
it.
a business. No more tax write-offs. No more 501c3 churches. You're going to have to become an American religious establishment, or you're going to be recognized as a business. So it's going to be the keys. They gave them the keys to the kingdom. They gave the Army and Marine Corps, along with the executive, keys to the kingdom. It's going to be a whole new nation with a whole new reality, a whole new education system. Education, university education, that's over. That's going back to the military.
Hell yeah.
And the veterans. The colleges for the universities will stay for profit, the way it's supposed to be. And by the way, just so everybody knows, nobody ever got a university degree. You got a college degree that was sponsored by a university. According to my background check, I have a Bachelor of Laws from the University of Florida that was issued to me, but that is a Bachelor of Laws under English common law, which is actually a university degree, not a college degree. Got it? So let's see what happens. Get your popcorn. That also means that local, state, and federal emergency services will be under military courts.
Love it.
Interesting. God bless. Godspeed.
Love it, love it, love it. I believe. There we go. Love it, love it, love it.
So
Oh,
bas-
Here's
basically,
my
basically
other
what
videos.
it's
I got to
saying
figure out how to stop.
for you is that the Marines are basically becoming the ground pounders, which they are, the policing force, and the U.S. Army is becoming the judicial part,
Love it.
which happens.
And what my military friends tell me, it's straight and cut to the law. There is none of this bullshit.
It's original. If this country comes under attack and we are taken over from within, it then falls on the duty of the United States military. It's the only time they can ever set foot on American soil is when from within we have been overtaken. And we, the people, have now stood up and said we will not do that. And what we're talking about is the deep state, the corporation. They thought they were going to play political games, I think, with the shutdown. And instead, it reverts back to um, what it comes down to is it's setting things back on the track it should be and eliminating everything. So it's becoming federally. Oh well, it's becoming this is tyranny. And no, this is what everybody used to call the Great Reset that is getting ready to happen.
And I think
Uh,
it's going to. That's me
absolutely,
personally.
yeah.
And I
And
see the writing on the walls. These idiots, it's again, they handed him the key, Donald Trump the keys. We have Antifa going nuts up in Washington. We have
oh
your
yeah,
state. You guys telling me yesterday about Maine. I didn't even know about Maine going nuts too. There's
oh yeah.
so many states that are going nuts. And,
Well,
and again, what better way to do it than let's go ahead and shut it down. Give
what?
everybody pink slips, send them home,
Yeah.
bring out the military.
Well, the issue is it's become from their investigative purposes so corrupt,
Yes.
even to, and this is what we've talked about too, even with CPS and so on and so forth, mass corruption for profit. And what it is it's
For states'
robbing
profit, for states'
for
profit,
states'
and
profits.
state
Yes.
players' profit.
I mean, even the NGOs of some of these different companies, and if you don't know, non-government organizations is what that stands for, is these are other organizations, the Red Cross, the United Way, and some of these other things, just to give you examples and everything else, is stop playing the corporate thing. And that's where we're going to end the corporation, and the corporation died. People don't understand when they had the US Army in DC, it was not just a celebration of their birthday, but there was a ceremony that took place.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of symbolism that came in there. And when that flag of DC, the District of Columbia,
Mm-hmm.
was handed over to the president,
That's right. During the
that
parade,
meant we have now taken over the
surrendered.
corporation. It's done.
You got
And
it.
people that don't understand military law, military uh, code of ethics, uniform military code of justice, all those different things that are there, they don't understand those symbolisms. This, if you go back to the symbolism, even during the first term of Trump, that turns around and where he surrendered the country over to the military. People go, oh, I don't understand it. That's when they turned the back on their president, the president at the time, and walked off the stage. Military, especially United States Marine Corps, that is the number one thing to guard it. And you never turn your back on the president. 100%. When they did that, they ignored the presidential office, and the military then took over. And people don't understand the symbolism of that. And since then, has been nothing but, even during the Biden, we'll call it jokestration, because it wasn't anything administered except for thievery and all sorts of other things. But and that's going to all come out. But they're tracing it back to the Clinton Foundation, the Obama Foundation. And here's what a lot of people don't understand, and we've talked about this.
1979, isn't it? Wouldn't it be 79? The Family Justice, not Family Justice Act, the Family. Oh, geez, it's where they get the right to funding for adoptions. I forgot the whatever, but I know it's 76.
So you'll look at a lot of those, and every single time there's something to do with CPS or fucking with the family, because we're going to call it fucking with the family, has only operated on one side of the aisle.
Yep.
That's not being bigotry. Those are facts.
Mm-hmm.
Looking to destroy what they wanted to do. And understand, the president still answers to we the people. And that's one thing that the power was given back to us. And I know one thing that we were talking about, some of the things that are going on to where we're seeing grand juries of we the people, not what the courts form. But you guys do realize that grand juries are being assembled across this country to actually, all they have to do is do that and then have their foreman go to a judge and say, we the people have met. We wish to issue warrants and indictments This has been reviewed and approved, and it does meet the standard, and it has met the criteria of we the people. Here is our proper formation, Judge. I just need a signature. Then I can turn that over to all sorts of law enforcement and actually have people arrested. So when you have a group of people enough to do a grand jury that they have been done wrong, a neutral party, even from all the United States with this new technology, the grand jury is federal. So we can have a person, for me, I think the minimum is what, 21, 24 or something like that. And then you meet, you hear the sworn statement, you swear them in, you ledger it, you record everything, everything's recorded, just like a court is supposed to be.
A people's court, yeah.
And then you take it before a judge and they say, well, how can you do that? And that's what you and I were talking about when you're doing affidavits for criminal or civil. It comes under, and you guys can look this up. And I think we've got another video on that here too. Right. Is under Rule 27 of civil procedure. In other words, of gathering evidence. We can now gather those affidavits without even having a case. Right. We don't have to. This is how grand juries are formed. Now that people are
we're talking about the guy out of California that posted today, and I believe we got to do a little research, but that's where our IT guy, Darren, has to not only find the constitutional gentleman out of Florida, but I think he ought to hunt this guy down too, because if you want to go into it, I'd rather let the public hear this one because they're about to be blown on what is going on.
Figuring it out, guys. They are done. We, the people, are rising up, and now they cannot stop us. When we told you, even back when, even with the case that I have filed and everything else that's going on, and talking about it's the tip of the spear that we cover a lot on our show, Gunning for CPS. It is the tip of the spear because it's going to pierce through the veil and everything through there and cut through the bullshit and say, now we have that, but we have the evidence because you've done it, and now we can prove it. And now, and check out Gunning for CPS.
Well, listen to the video on how he does it, and not only that, he actually asked the judge to arrest the attorney right there on the spot. Yep, it was beautiful.
Let's check that out.
Who walked into court and flipped the script. Today we break down how he made a lawful citizen's arrest right there in the courtroom. California Penal Code 837. Take notes.
Love it. 837.
United States District Court this day. Fresno County Superior Court judges and bank, including all, the full court, are named expect adverse parties in a federal class action lawsuit. Thus, it would be inappropriate for any Fresno County Superior Court judge to hear this case.
So I named the full court and bank. That means all the judges inclusively. And in doing so, it creates a conflict of interest, so nobody can hear the case. So then comes the fun part. Now it's time to place Mr. Polkowski under citizen's arrest. So I start with the 3 elements necessary to perform a citizen's arrest under California law. Penal Code Section 837.
Now he's following under
equally is my intent, pursuant to my authority under California Penal Code Section 837, place Mr. Polkowski under citizen's arrest.
So immediately the judge hears the magic words, bang, 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 authority, citizen's arrest. She's all, what? What are the charges?
What basis?
So then I cite the charges. I start with Penal Code Section 166, which is contempt. If you bring proceedings before the court that are false or fraudulent, that's contempt. If you lie in front of the court and file false documents, that's contempt. So the other 2 charges were Penal Code Section 422.6 and 422.7, which is discrimination against a qualified individual with a disability or discriminating against a handicapped person. In this case, those statutes are threats, intimidation, coercion, etc.
Violation of Penal Code Section 166 as well as 422.6, 422.7.
And then you can see I look to my right, I look right at Bailiff Tom, and I tell him, hey, take my prisoner into custody. You can cite him out pursuant to Penal Code Section 849.
Whew! Mr. Alexander's looking like Mr. Anderson turning into Neo right before our eyes. He's not just quoting code, he's starting to bend it. You can feel it building. Stay locked in.
At this point in time, I am additionally requesting that a peace officer of the state of California take said individual who I now deliver into custody. You may sign him out pursuant to Penal Code Section 849, sub B1. That's your discretion.
Now, people, this is the fun part. You gotta look at the judge. You gotta look at her body language. You gotta look at Mr. Volkowski. Look at his body language. At first, it's kind of funny because it catches him off guard, but then he realizes, oh shit, all the elements have just been hit. I've been placed under arrest. You see him reach in his back pocket and pull out his wallet and his keys, and he says, give these to my wife. I'm under arrest.
Additionally, Your Honor, I would leave the court a copy momentarily, my personal file copy of said petition under Federal Rules of Civil Procedure Rule 27, filed this day with the federal court.
Now, there's a cool tool. Federal Rules of Civil Procedure Rule 27.
Love it.
It allows you to take depositions of people without filing a lawsuit, so it's like a form of advanced discovery. Now, did I think it was going to go anywhere? No. Did I think it was going to stir the pot and create a bunch of shit? Absolutely.
Going over and serving the presiding judge and bank.
Tom, if you could hand me a copy of that Mr. Alexander has.
Now, I don't disrespect these people, but I don't give away courtesy copies of crap for nothing, especially to a judge. That's why I serve the presiding judge and bank the full court. Then it's on him to make the copies. And then you can hear me tell the judge, and I'd like to have it back, Your Honor. Give it back.
I would like to have this back, Your Honor, and while the matter is under consideration, I would like to depart from the courtroom, proceed with my associates across the street to serve the presiding judge. Also, my associate here today has a duplicate copy for which we would like to serve on Mr. Volkowski. Therefore, I would request that these documents, whatever they are, be returned to Mr. Volkowski, and when it's determined how we proceed, such appropriate service can then take place. I believe, Your Honor, that Mr. Volkowski, everyone in the District Attorney's Office, pursuant to this Federal Rules of Civil Procedure Rule 27 petition, as well as every judge in the Fresno County court system appearing in bank, has a personal interest in the outcome of this matter, and therefore would be inappropriate and create a conflict of interest.
Now, I
There's
never
those
stick all
bonds
my
we
eggs
talked
in one
about-
basket.
talked about on our
So that's
show.
why I say, in the alternative, let's do this. Plan B.
In the event I'm wrong, I would like a minimum of 2 days to prepare a 170.1A6C challenge for cause against each and every judge in the Fresno County Superior Court system.
Now, there's a provision in California Code of Civil Procedures 170.1A6C. It's called a challenge for cause. If you file a challenge for cause against a judge, they have to answer that.
Mr. Alexander didn't ask for justice. He enforced it. A lawful citizen's arrest, backed by code, executed with precision. California knows the law. Do you? Stay tuned.
That was awesome. That was awesome. Is that my buddy Darren? Is he back in here? No, it's you. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I was going to say that's mission number 2 for Darren because I don't have TikTok. And if any of you guys got TikTok, I'm asking you to find part 2 for us and share if you could. I mean, post it to the links, get it to somebody. We all know each other. We can all network. But yeah, that was incredible what that man did. And guys, if you notice, he used the ADA. California has been a strong state on ADA case law, and I continue to scream this loud and proud. They've actually done a lot of things. They're not 100% right, but at least they're trying. At least they're acknowledging people with disabilities and they have special rights and protections, where in my state of Connecticut, they're still targeting you for them disabilities and saying you ain't qualified to be a good person underneath the Constitution because you got a good a disability. So anyways, I mean, I don't know. Any thoughts on that one though, Gunnar? Did it blow your mind? Because if I was in that court, I would have been pissing my pants.
Well, I noticed how he took and appropriated it to the appropriate court. One, I'm in state court, therefore I need to speak state codes and statutes.
Correct.
And you notice how he laid these out and filed them a particular way. He says, this is also a file. Here's a follow-up.
Part B. Right.
That I've also filed in federal court as well, holding you accountable for the federal part of this. This is something that we're in the process of doing as well. is filing those criminal charges both at the state level and the federal.
When I did my first
You know what I'm
removal,
saying?
I actually did the removal. It was upon the stamp, getting the copy, the federal copy stamped. And then I believe what he was doing was showed up to court and served them notice. And that judge didn't know what to do. When I did it, these people shit on a Monday morning. They didn't know what direction. I had somebody at the court. They stayed to court for almost 2 hours when they've had to figure out what the hell was going on with what I just did to them. So, guys, these idiots do not know what the constitutional law is. And again, this is where we need to break it apart and really use your not only your ADA discrimination complaints, but when they don't engage, and it's going to lead to later in the show that we're going to show you this, because I found something else that reinforced that fact. And it was incredible, again, how my day is laid out and things are just falling in my lap. They say God works in wonders. And I'm telling you, the last week, it seems things have been just falling right into place.
Big time, all over the place, man. I mean, I know, Henry, you're not the only one. We've had tons go on in our federal case, in our actual case. I'm hearing this all over the place with people. All of a sudden, they're connecting the dots, and people are figuring things out a whole lot faster now. And now people are breaking, like we were telling you, piercing that veil of injustice with the tip of the spear, with the true law, and with facts, and with the proper formats, and with the proper laws, and with the proper code. That people are getting tired. They think they're so dumb. And this is the whole issue that we've come back to, and we've done full circle on this, with why the public education system should be abolished. Because it does not educate you on how
it doesn't
to
give you
right.
your skills of basic skills and set you for future work. What it does is set you up to go to college, get in debt, and become a philosopher that a college ain't even recognized and accredited because this college is not a university.
And for some of those, go work for Antifa to where they can pay those bills, because that is documented. That is documented fact.
And I think it was about 15 years ago, somebody told me that now people over at Verizon Wireless had to have a 2-year bachelor degree just to sell cell phones. And I think it's stupid because it comes down to, again, our educational system is not educating people in the basics. How many times do you go to a grocery store and let's just say the bill's $15.31, right? And you hand them $21. The guy looks at you like, huh? Yeah, can you hand me a $5 back and some change, brother? I'll appreciate that.
Let me trace that back, because we went through that raising my children that I have. It's called Commie Core. If some of you remember it, Commie Core is what they call that. And it was used by its designers to dumb down white children because there was too much of a intelligence gap between the white demographics and the black and the Hispanic demographics. They're getting too smart to dumb them down.
Now that you said that, now you just made me change up my whole show, because this was the intent of today was to show the proudness of people. And I couldn't believe I have a new representative running for the 5th district here in Connecticut. And he happened to turn me on to something that was pretty good today. Keep talking, Gunner, while I find it.
Well, besides the Board of Education, now it's been revealed what was happening in the poisoning of our food that actually affects brain chemistry, to where now you're keeping them dumb. You're keeping them ignorant. Here's the other thing that most people don't realize. You know who provides the food in public school systems? DOD.
DOD, what's that?
Department of Defense. It's all the leftovers and all the stuff the government bails out, the cheese people, to this person and this, and that. Buy it up on a wholesale thing and sell the hell out of it. That's just like there's still the cheese cave. If you don't know what the cheese cave is, go look it up. It's back when the dairy farmers were overproducing so much cheese and nobody was buying it. So the government bought it to bail out the dairy farmers.
No, I never heard of that one. Sorry, bud.
So, yeah. I mean, it's pretty big.
Okay, I'm going to close this one.
And like I said, you've got these multiple.
I'm ready to show you this. And again, this woman could not believe her. And again, this would have been another day that I would have loved to have been in that room just to piss my pants and see what they had to say. Guys, this is about to blow your mind away. I love her. I want to marry her just for her attitude.
Of reasons to hate me. If you choose my skin color, you just aren't trying hard enough. I give people millions of reasons to love and seek partnership with me. If you choose my skin color of all things, well, quite literally, you are too stupid for me to tolerate. This is not 1865, nor is it 1965. Let the victim mentality go. All glory to God. Good afternoon, Council. The most educated demographic in America, or at least one of them, votes the most ignorantly. And for whatever reason, we have decided to champion things that will never benefit us. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. They say it benefits women, but they can't even tell you what a woman is. They say it benefits the Black community, but they literally just finished advocating for something like an open border. And according to the EEOC, in a book titled Back of the Higher Line, that's not really conducive. But I wouldn't expect anyone here to know anything about the EEOC because somehow, some way, the 11th largest city in this nation doesn't even have an office for the agency.
There it is.
Which brings me to my next
EEOC is
point.
work-related.
They
Title
say
I,
that
guys.
diversity, equity, and inclusion helps people with disabilities. Well, I stand before you today as a parent of a child with autism to let you know that if the city of Fort Worth actually cared about ADA and people with disabilities, not only would we have an office for EEOC, we would have a better funded RISE program. We definitely wouldn't have MHMR in charge, and community organizations like the Boys and Girls Club on the North Side and UCC in South Poly would be ADA compliant, and last time I checked, they are not. But also, families like the one of Xavier Hernandez would have seen justice by now. But the sad reality is, while we waste time whining about skin color and made-up pronouns, we have neglected the most vulnerable people within our society for the most superficial reasons.
This is why I love her.
But as a woman of God, hear me when I say, nothing that is ever truly meant for you can never be taken away, not even by a white man in America. My name is Miss Jackson. I don't need you to walk me into any position, and no, I don't want a seat at your table unless I'm welcomed. And I mean truly welcomed by merit, not mandate. Seek my employment, seek my partnership because you see my value. You understand my potential. I have proven the merit to carry out the task at hand, but do not belittle me down to my skin color. No, because truth be told, I don't have to face racism. Racism has to face me. I don't have to face sexism. Sexism has to face me. I give people millions of reasons to hate me. If you choose my skin color, you just aren't trying hard enough. I give people millions of reasons to love and seek partnership with me. If you choose my skin color of all things, well, quite literally, you are too stupid for me to tolerate. This is not 1865, nor is it 1965. Let the victim mentality go.
There you go.
That was beautiful. That was so beautiful. I'm dead serious, guys. She said, and this is what I'm trying to say to you guys. When you walk into that courtroom and you're demanding your ADA modifications of policies and procedures under Title II, which is not the EEOC, which is the affirmative administration that the state must have in place, which is typically your Office of Civil Rights that should be handling this, where it's non-compliancy. But again, she's right on. People are crying about stupid shit, but yet the true people with disabilities have to sit there in the corner and
people
be quiet.
turn around and go, "Where do I file?" And she pointed out, "There's nobody in that office because there's
not even an office." And that happens to be in her state. I know state of Connecticut's got a employee benefit center. Trust me, they have no problems in spending that money. But yeah, no, she was awesome. I thought she was right on. And again, we need more powerful people like her in this world. And again, that's all I ask everyone to understand.
It's not just power. You're understanding and you're listening to how well educated they are, how much knowledge they have. And this is not done. These are not people. You'll notice she didn't stand up and go, "I have this immaculate degree with all these other things and this and that. Now you must listen to me." These are basic, everyday people. And we have just as much, let's put it this way, we have more authority with experience than somebody that has a degree to study it. You're not an expert at it. Why? You've never experienced
Listen,
it.
I don't know about you. We're
Listen.
both mechanical contractors. I will listen to an apprentice, which is a person learning the system, from us, the teachers, any day of the week.
Right.
If he's smart, I'll use the idea. If he's dumb, gives me a chance to slap him down and give him an education. And again, the people who walk around, oh, I know everything. I do it. Bullshit. You can't know everything. And things change, and the applications change, and styles change. You have
Codes
to be
change.
able to mold
New products
with
come
these
out.
people when you're in the courthouse or with CPS, and they're not, well, ADA doesn't apply to this. How's that the child's best interest? The whole nine. You have to defeat every little step. And guys, I'm trying to teach you on why you got to take it back to 1990, because of the ignorance is not there. They forgot and overjumped the founding of Congress. The Congress found in 1990 that they had to end the discrimination against people with disabilities. Period.
Yeah.
And yet we're still fighting this today.
Because here's the other thing, though, Henry, that's going to get you. If they did that, then they would have to acknowledge with these disabilities. And I'm going to go out there and I'm going to put it out there on the air and I'm going to say it, and we're going to connect the dots. Then you would have to acknowledge the damage that was done by vaccinations.
Oh, I'm just starting that realm. I've been waiting 20 years. Trust me on it, brother. Anyone that wants to see my Facebook, I typically don't post. I've never been a big poster, never a big social person. It's Darren that got me into this, sort of like he did to Jess, made her cracked his virgin. I think the guy gets off on making us no longer virgins, but now he's got me going. You can't shut me up. I want more. I want more, Gunner. I swear to God, I'll even take your Sunday night, Hey, which, by the way,
Darren the cherry popper. We're going to pop the cherry.
Toll and Roll, they are having their little webinar meeting. I think, if my memory rights, it's been 3 weeks, 4 weeks since they've had one, a Zoom meeting. It ends just before your show. So I hope you would show up to that tomorrow night, because there's going to be some good constitutional stuff talked about in that meeting. And again, how they're getting their petition of remonstrance, how they're going to get the HR 1776 going and passed. It's great. You know what I mean? It's all good stuff. And again, we all got to get out there and do it.
People are waking up on a scale that we have never seen before. And as we said over a year ago, when this thing gets traction,
right,
and people stop spinning their wheels and everybody quits with this hero syndrome shit, I want to be the hero. Even with the stuff that we're going through and doing the stuff we're doing, I don't want to be no damn hero. I just want it to fucking stop.
And honestly,
and it should stop.
I feel bad, and I brought this up to Darren. Darren, how do you sit there and hear everyone's stories? It makes my skin crawl, guys. I'm sorry. It brings back my OCD. It brings back my trauma. I need you to get right to the fact. I need help. This is what's going on. Quick story, 3. And again, I like to use that 3-minute testifying, like you're testifying at a public hearing. You got 3 minutes to dump your story, and let's see what we can do and put our heads together.
Well, and we found a way too. But one of the things that we're presenting too is, that going through that. Yeah, I'm done. Is the fact too is when you file, like in certain states, you file complaints against judges, and then as we read under that title, that people know about these crimes and do nothing.
They make you
as officers of the courts. I'm afraid of retaliation or this. You don't understand. Now you're a co-conspirator.
Correct.
If you do not report the same crime that I've happened and they find out, everybody that's involved that was in that courtroom, from the court reporter to the judge to the GAL,
marshals,
to the CPS people, to this, and anybody that's in that fucking room, including the deputy that's standing up there,
court help centers,
you are now a co-conspirator to conceal a crime. When part of your duties when you go into that courtroom is to turn around. Just put it in the fridge. That's fine. That's fine. Is part of their sworn duties is their honesty and their integrity to report other people that are in the system for violating oaths, committing crimes, not following rules of civil procedure, And that's where the people are supposed to feel confident when they go into a courtroom that all these people are looking out for
Mhm.
me, not against me. And when you go into these family kangaroo
Mhm.
courts, nobody's doing
Mhm.
that. And that's the thing that's going to be called out, that the people are calling out are saying, you're a criminal. Well, I had nothing to do with it. I was just there. That doesn't work,
Well, it's not. It's not
because
only.
I know
It's
how
not
to
only.
articulate
It's not
now.
only that. It sort of happened like the other day, which I don't kind of agree on. Dave Regal is his name, I believe. There's a young lady in Connecticut.
Yeah.
She had a case. I'm gonna recuse 3 judges. Da, 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 da. Well, what happened? They wouldn't hear my motions. Well, why wouldn't they? I said, did you mark it ready? And she goes, what do you mean? Again, certain people don't understand that they put technical barriers in front of you. And that's the clarity
Yep.
of what your court service center should be explaining to somebody with a disability, to
That's the job
ensure
of
that
your
you've
court
got
clerk.
all the technical rights to file. They have to get you to that counter anyway. I don't care if they got to type it. I don't care if they have to accept it in crayon. I don't care
Yep.
how. They have to effectively give you the same communication as if you had no disability.
Yes, that is part of the ADA, which means your court clerk, when you go to that window, you talk to them on the
Right.
phone or anything else, is required by law to educate you
To the
of
point of
any gaps or
to the
anything
point
in
of
there.
understanding with your disability. They're not
Yes.
not there to be your university and give you a lawyer's education, but they are there
No.
to assist and ensure you get an end.
Hey, you're missing this, and give you the word, then you can go back and look it up. What does that mean? And this and that, and then apply it to your filings, this and that. But the court clerk is supposed to clearly articulate that to
Right.
you, every person that
Right.
files.
So again, the only reason I was
Not
bringing this up
under the-
again, Gunner, somebody compares and looks at us as, oh my God, how do you guys know all this? How do you? It's time. It's time in taking the beating. That's what it's
Yeah.
all about, guys. And again, I do get there's gonna, because I represent a lot of these people who don't have the cognitive remembrance.
Let's
But
for our day and age, let's compare that to old Rocky. Okay, old Rocky sit there and do what he does and protects himself till he gets in the ring, because back then they didn't have films and all this other stuff, and a lot of things, and a lot of boxers didn't, to study their opponent based off of this and that. Let alone, you may go into the ring and, oh wait, they do, and change everything up, and here comes a southpaw. Those type of things. But you wait and you take a few licks to figure out your opponent. And this is the same thing within any sport or head-to-head composition, MMA, football, baseball. It doesn't matter. How does the pitcher pitch? How does this do? How does this work? Where are the weak spots? What fits best for me to be optimized? And that's what they're not wanting to do, is they've handicapped all of us by people not doing their job. Why? Because you go to the court clerk and most of them go, you can't do that. Yes, I can. And then you got to have arguments on shit they're supposed to know they're supposed to do. You have to take my filing. No, I don't. We don't accept those here. The judge said so.
And
the judge is not your boss, court clerk. The court clerk is what? An elected official, is it not?
Now I got a question, because I want to tie in your argument here to the full text of 63C AM juror 2D public officials and employees. It's again the nature of the basis of element and qualifications. So again, these are all their power statutes. And again, this is where it's going to get into. And guys, if you didn't see the probate trap the other night, Thursday night, Toll and Roll was on it, and Tom was awesome. They slam dunked the whole system, and they connected all the dots. So if you're looking to learn, again, this is where I'm saying, yes, you're going to have to invest some time in learning, because even if me and Gunner told you 100 times, you're the one that has to say it in front of the judge. I can't say it for you. I can only show you the light. You look at the research and decide whether or not you want to apply.
Your own advocate.
And again, it's sad to say, but at least thank God we can do this today, because none of us are allowed. And
no,
Gunner, you said something to me the other day that blew my mind. You basically told me,
if none of these people are properly trained and educated, such as your court clerk, such as your sheriff's office that is doing things the
Correct.
state are telling them to do, rather than they're under federal jurisdiction. Your sheriff's
Correct.
office
It-
are. People don't understand that. They're paid individually by the people under common
So-
law. But once again,
so that people understand, I
They-
believe you're absolutely 100% right. A doctor today is trained on to give, we'll just say, Pfizer medicines, Moderna. They're not trained in the holistical internal medicine body approach that has to come
Right.
first before you're supposed to go to Pfizer's. So again, state doctors, state players, they only depend on their holy grail practice book of the state you're in.
listen, they just passed a thing to where now doctors are going to have to take a class in fucking
They have
nutrition
to.
be a doctor. They never had
Not-
to. Not before, but yeah, now they
Okay.
have to. And I'm like over here, 90% of the problem falls within what you eat and what's in your gut. It's
Listen,
90% of your
Listen,
health
all
problem.
my life I've had big, heavy, overset doctors, and it made no sense to me. You know, he's giving
Right.
me advice, medical advice, but himself, he ain't. You know what I mean? I ain't saying you got to be Mr. Physical Fit either, because some of these nut jobs I know take it a little too crazy. And
But they're salesmen. They're like, let's put it this way. It's like having a bunch of people that manufacture
Right.
parts. Okay,
Right.
for a car. Then it depends on who you
Right.
get it from. Do you get it from, the
Right.
dealer? But it still just has another name stamped on it. Like, I follow a couple other channels, this and that, with Hondas and this and that. But there's one guy out in Cali, and he's hilarious. Oh, don't get your parts from Bato Zone. Get them from the original manufacturer. Honda doesn't make parts. They just pay extra to have their name stamped on it.
Yep.
Go back to the original manufacturer. Why? It's brake pads, everything, the same thing. This is OEM equipment.
Right.
Is what it comes under. And that's what it comes down to, is none of this stuff it's like we've all, with all these medicines and everything else, we're not going back to the original manufacturer, going back to our, let's correct the problem from the start as the way it was designed. It's, let's buy that fucking Timu shit or that fucking Bato Zone shit and put that stuff up there and, substandard fucking shit to band-aid it. That's not fixing the problem. If I keep taking a fucking pill, but I don't correct the issue of hand to mouth disease of sitting there doing it, my diabetes is not going to go away if I don't quit fucking shoving garbage down my
Exactly.
throat. I mean, it's
Beyond,
common
beyond
fucking
garbage.
sense.
I mean, even the vegetables don't have the
Poison.
nutrients it used to have. Everything's quick, rapid. Think about it. Trees are not as strong as they were to make timber because we're using
Yeah.
fertilizers. What do you think fertilizers is doing for your food line?
Yeah.
So, hey, let me get into what ties us in so that everybody can understand it. I'm hitting share, and right now it is not allowing my recognize my Windows document. Hold on a minute. I'm trying to figure it out. Is there a way I can just even
Put up the last
text?
thing.
Is there a way I could text
then
the language in the private chat, and then you'd be able to post it for everyone?
Well, yeah, I mean, I could do it that way if you want to copy and
Yeah, I
paste
was
it
going
in
to let my
private chat or
computer read it
the
to
other
everyone, but
backdoor.
I think it's private. It's easier just to do that. And again, it's all on Google, guys. You don't have to go fancy. Got to run down to the law library. It's Google is great for federal law, and here it is to go into you now, buddy. And
Okay, you want that in the
yeah,
comments?
please.
Or
If somehow everyone could take a read on that, or whatever, we can.
I'll post this in the comments.
Because again, it's very powerful information, and I wanted to talk about it because again, it shows that they have an affirmative obligation, and when they neglect it to do it, it's that way.
There it is, guys. Sorry, I meant to do that welcoming thing earlier today, guys, and I forgot to hit the send button to post it at the beginning of the show. Here, let's see if I can. I think I can show this bottom of the screen. Here you go. Here's
Okay,
some of
so
it.
it's again
We'll go
63C, AMG, JURSD, public officials and employees, 24. So again, just Google it, guys. It's delegated powers, but I mean, I can't control it. So you're going to have to control it or let it read off itself, or because people don't want to hear me read. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, it's there in the comments. Like I said, take time, go through it, scroll down, screenshot it,
Look it up on the
whatever
internet
you guys
because
can do.
I had a
Copy and
hard
paste.
time with the 63C AM Jurors 2D. I never even heard of that code.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are hidden. Once again, Henry, as we've talked about, this is hidden from the people. If that's the thing, I don't think a lot of people understand is that a lot of this is out there. It's been out there, and the idea is they're doing plausible deniability. They know it's out there. They know what they're supposed to do, but they also take a chance that you don't know where the hell to look to take and quote on it and hold them accountable for that shit. And when you do, then like you said, during that one video, they fucked up. They know they got it. I'm screwed. Like that judge here, take my wallet, take my keys, get to my wife. I'm under arrest. Here, I'm done.
Right.
I hit all the spots. I can listen to that, articulate it, and know my thing's cooked. And if that's resisting. And on the charges that are over here and the seriousness of the charges, I sure as hell ain't gonna kick the pig. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna cause myself more thing. At least some of them, as we used to say, they used to curtail.
Yep.
Curtail and run away. That's what they know is when you've got them, they'll quit fighting and they'll curl the tail and then they'll start begging for mercy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I tell a lot of people, that when you watch this system and you're going to watch it fall, and it's going to get to the point, it's called, I'm trying to think of the word here, but minimize the risk. It's a business, minimize the risk and cut your profits and losses. They will lose a judge, a magistrate, or a whole county in a state. And that's a pretty big
Right.
hit, but then they'll restack it over time. Why? Because they have 20 other counties in that state. They don't care. They'll lose one to keep the other 20 going. It's called calculated risk. It's called risk assessment. So believe it or not, even when they were coming in, even on DC, they said, "Hey, you've got so many pallets of these cameras, and is it there?" And they were questioned at DC on the Hill recently this past week. Is that there for the people's safety or to generate revenue? Well, it's there for the public safety. Then why is it you say over here that this will take and fill in and create revenue on this one report of the traffic violations and everything else for the things that we're going to take and do and write them more tickets and everything else, that it's going to create so much revenue to fill this gap and putting it towards your projected budget? Let alone it's in an area like, Detroit and some of the others that are so poverty stricken. You're abusing the people. They can't afford the shit. So then they go on with this and that. And then what are they after? They're after the property.
Right.
That's the ultimate goal. I want
the
your
property of a poor person is their children, period. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
And again, I believe Brown was her name, but I read another good post from Terry LaPointe that again referred to this woman Brown. I tried finding her on Connecticut because she's another Connecticut all-star, and that's her argument, that Connecticut is attacking the poorest of the poor, and it's just crazy. It's just left and right.
They are not supposed to target, especially CPS or the courts, those that are poor, to continually oppress. They are to offer solutions that benefit the community and strengthen the community. And their version is we'll just keep them under thumb. And the idea of these state things that people are beginning to figure out, of these state courts, especially with what he was talking about, how they benefit financially, and that's through the bonds that we did a show on, the performance bond, the bid bond, the insurance bond, and all those other things. And you figure those out and show that in your case.
No offense, that has to be redone again, because people need, and I know you've done it once, but I'm telling you, even I, hearing it 3-4 times now, I'm not catching it. And again, I think it's because I'm trying to look.
Well, we may do
what it is
a
where it's a simple, like as you calling up your insurance agent. I mean, I can't believe it's that simple for these people to get money. And I'm also hearing they're cashing out people with disabilities, taking out loans for them that are in lifelong state care. And again, it's so that they can claim.
Oh, absolutely. When they have control,
we need a new vehicle, so they're cashing out and destroying his credit.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. This happens all across. This is it's called uh, it's a commercial based fraud, but it's
Not title theft.
financial fraud. It's credit fraud. Is what it is. And that's where people turn around and go, well, how does that happen? You think all these people, you look at them, you pull a credit report on somebody that has
Right.
Down syndrome or any of these other things, or
Right.
all full on autism, and they're in a program or this or that, they want their social security number. Why? Because they can fill out loans and other things and this and that, as they are part of the guarantors because of the money they get in. It's guaranteed by
Right.
this and that. And that's how this is treated on the same way, but on different levels, the same way with other private
Right.
companies. They're not supposed to. When you begin
Bankrupt
to
them.
really realize the Social Security Trust and how it actually works, and it was created by the corporation, when all of that becomes undone as this process
Mhm.
goes along, because it was never designed to be a tracking program. As a matter of fact, you go back to the president, it's one of the guarantees that this is not going to be used for, the Social Security program, not to be used against them or part of a credit program. Now they want your social for every damn thing. It's against the exact purpose. So if somebody was to do a class action suit, went back to the original of the Social Security system, of why it was set up and the purposes of it, and then go to these credit companies and saying, hey, you've got credit against me and all this other stuff, that you're committing fraud, is a thing they hope you will never figure
Right.
out. But one thing, there are multiple ways of, once again, like we said, we have to peel the onion on many different aspects, and you're seeing it happen before our eyes. This is happening even in the Federal
Mhm.
Reserve. They are peeling the onion. And when they realize what's there and what they've done to the American people, with they're never supposed to have that much power to do, they're the ones that cause, listen, go back and look at the stock market crash of, what was it,
32.
the early 1900s, 32.
Great
That
bank
dealt
deal,
with
bro.
the great bank deal. The centralized
Yep.
banking system crashed, did not work the first time, and they had to go back and rewrite it until it is what we know it is today, to figure out how do we cash in on labor units, because not everybody was doing it, and then they forced everybody into it.
Well,
That's
no,
why
they
it
gave the
crashed.
original constitutional people, the people who still had claim to their land, because their title said it was for future generation use.
Yeah.
And what the kid said is, my parents didn't have the right to leverage my farm and my future rights without my consent. So
Right.
basically the banks lost against all the
Yeah.
farmers. So they said, we're going to run two process. We're going to run this 14th Amendment new bank deal that's for all people, all citizens. Black, white,
Which
purple,
was never
color, business,
ratified,
doesn't matter.
people.
And then we have yours right here,
Yeah.
which is the 1 through 6. And what they've done now is said, this doesn't exist no more, which nobody can show on paper where it's been redacted. Show me where the Constitution has been redacted.
Yeah.
I would love to know that one. And then
No.
they just continue with this one. So,
Well,
and again,
and there's a lot of talk too of even going through the Constitution of things that were put, such as the 14th Amendment, which should not be where it is, because it was never ratified as part of the process. Therefore, it's technically null and void, because the complete process has not been done. That's a huge thing.
well,
And I think
this is
all
gonna
of that
tie,
is becoming
where
unraveled
this
at
is
a
going to
time.
tie into, because we're getting close on time here. I just want to play the last minutes of Toll and Roll, where Tom, which I think this guy's another great guy, and Darren, that's another job that I'm giving you. Hunt them down, bring them on, because it's incredible what knowledge these people have.
Well, we'll go ahead and do that, and then we'll close out with the
Sure.
songs, and then Henry, I'll let you wrap up the show and go from there.
Sure, we should be able to hear it now.
I'm excited to hear the Toll and Roll updates for tomorrow, so that should be interesting, because I know they've been talking about this trip to DC here in September that they were doing for a while, so I'm hoping to hear some good outcomes.
Right, yeah, that should be coming on a couple hours early tomorrow. I'll let everybody know on Facebook tomorrow when the show is going to be coming on. It's going to be a big show. There's going to be a lot of really good information
Sunday
on
night,
there.
Zoom.
Like I say, these people are helping out everybody that's involved in the course.
Not a soul. They ain't
it's
leaving
land
nobody
titles
behind, guys.
Titles being taken.
I say
by
join,
banks,
sign the
foreclosures.
petition,
I mean, you name it.
send it
These
to
people
Doge.
are working
I say
on
you
behalf
ought to
of people.
turn
They
around,
know
sign the
they're doing
online
really good,
petition. Call your
advocates
Congress
for
people,
the
tell them to
nation. And
support
we speak about this 'cause
HR
Stephen even traveled
1776.
with them
It's
at
not
one
hard.
time. we met.
If you're not willing to take a little bit of time,
up in
but you're
Washington
willing to
at the
make
Whistleblower
everyone
Summit,
cry
so we've talked to this
because of
group
things
quite
that
a
are
bit.
happening
So
to you and
tomorrow
taking the
we're
time
gonna
up
be
in
doing
their life,
another show.
then I feel
So we'll have
what
to
they're
come.
Not to miss
saying
it.
should happen.
Dean, we want to thank you so much for sharing your story and for joining us tonight.
And
It's been
I
great to hear your
believe,
voice, and hopefully
did I miss,
some
did I go
donations
over
will come
time?
into your bank.
Yeah,
We certainly hope.
and if anybody wants to join our shows, you may do that.
Here you go,
We'll either
Gunner.
have you go off camera. You can come on camera. You can. It's a live show, everybody. So
Maybe I did go.
Patients in a nursing home, and put them out of business and in a position so nation.
and if
say,
you do,
oh,
they are helping people. Stephen even
Start
and if anybody wants to,
Oh
I'm
man,
very grateful to hear that. We think was
they gave my sister and I co-guardianship of my mother.
Well,
and guess
guys,
what?
however,
Bad Henry,
However,
I'm just gonna stop it and say let's close out the show, Gunner, because I couldn't find it. But everybody knows where to go find it as the episode. And again, things are happening great this week. And John, you've been on track all night. Love it. Go my Canadian friend and have a little poutine tonight. The extra cheese and gravy.
Well, the children are all so far
Good night, guys.
away. EPS swooped deed I and took them today. With tears welled up in their eyes, no parents by their side. EPS wins again today. Don't think it's the truth. Gone away is their youth, and the empty eyes of the parents prove it. Don't you think for a minute you are weak because they are gone? There wasn't any warning for you to follow along. A caseworker has no soul to hold in check. It's why they leave us parents such a wreck. Don't stand for the hell they created. All of our children they stole are worth saving. They are waiting at the door for us to save them. We need to stand up for our God and obey Him. He leads us to the battle with a beating drum. He knows the feeling they took His